You are watching
Opernball.
Xirtus.
Oh, the
I'm
opera ball.
fine. Yes, so I just wanted to show that it's kind of hilarious.
This is my goal. My goal is to dress like this at the Austrian Viennese ball. We'll all go to balls together someday. We're gonna ball so hard, bro.
Oh yeah. So this is the state ball, which is like the state ballroom dancing. You know,
These police
everyone,
ladies everywhere. Every police is a woman. They're all women. Oh, there's a couple
ev-
guys in berets behind them. But
you know, the popular thing is everyone dancing the waltz, you know, the fractalized dancing around the Kaaba, which with a partner. The only thing missing here is the Kaaba itself. However, yeah, here you have the president, one of my favorite individuals in Austria, um, being escorted over the red carpet. We had the
Of
red
course.
shoes earlier, right? And they always make the claim that
Oh, I
yes,
remember this place. Yeah,
maybe
I know what
it's
this is.
expensive and so on to buy a lodge there, and it's expensive. And of course, the taxpayers are paying for the mayor to go there, for the president, for the ministers, and everyone. And then people are like, well, you're giving out this government program, which basically says the regular citizen needs to save money and gets paid less and this and that.
And then you go to
But
balls.
there's still enough money to have this event because why is it so important? Because you can network with all the important companies and so on. And while theoretically that is correct, the question remains open, of course, if that networking ultimately truly benefits the public at large or just the princely interests that are represented here. I think by now you can catch my drift and guess what my assumption is.
Jeez. Oh boy, Austria. Yeah, it's fun to me to watch like the people who like work and live in Austria. So like the persons that stuck out to me here were this happy. First, there's this lady here that looks like a prison guard from the 30s, right? Like I like her. There's something about her that just look how tough she looks. She looks like she just wants some love in her heart. Like the lady next to her is all blonde behind her. She wants the feelings that the lady has, but can't have them. And then also the bald guy who's running the camera. Look at him. He's going to be following him the whole time. You can see him in the middle here. And look at him. Look how he's
You know,
thinking.
Andreas, in a parallel reality, this could be you and me. You
I
can
know.
decide who the
That's what
female would be,
I was
yeah?
thinking. Well, but I think you and we would have been the bald guy and the laughing cop. Where's his face? The Zelensky looking one. See the Zelensky guy right next to him, right there with the smile on his face and his little hat right there. Here, let's follow him again. Right to the stage left. Here's the lady again. And we're gonna move a little over, and then boom, he's coming in. There he is. Doesn't that look like Zelensky? He looks so happy to be there at the ball. You know.
Now that you mention it, I'm surprised Zelensky didn't attend, actually. Yeah.
He
Probably
really
should have
should have.
invited
He
him.
probably that's probably him. That's probably he's just
Who knows?
he just
Got in the
wants
back door.
yeah. And then okay, the blonde guy too. So this could have been somebody we know. Look at this blonde long hair, and he's like working with his suit and he's taking his photos. I don't know. It's interesting to me that like people can make their whole lives and careers and pay for their apartments based on the scum of the earth. You know, like God, that lady looks like Nancy Pelosi, but worse. You know. Okay, Elon Trump, Judas Goat Jones. I don't know Judas Goat.
So here, I just want to point this out. This is an old tape by William Cooper, who even back then, let's just say he's making claims against some of the most popular, now we would say, alternative researchers. I can't vouch for whether this is correct or not, but anybody who is, as deep into these topics as I am, it's good to listen to this as well and just, how should I say, take it with a grain of salt, but then also take everyone else with a grain of salt or with a heap of salt, depending.
I mean, the whole Son of God thing, I don't think that's not exactly what he said. It was more like that we are the sons of God. And he did feel like God was talking through him. He's like, wow, this is crazy. This is happening to me. I don't know. I like this particular Wogan episode. It's important. And William Cooper's cool. Bill Cooper. I'll probably have to watch this video later. And then, a witch.
Yeah, I'd be saying now let's interview him, but oops, we can't.
We could probably get David Icke. Oh, I always want to say Eddie Izzard for some reason. David Icke. Thomas, Paranoid American, did it. Let's see. Paranoid American, David Icke. I think it's, I don't know how hard it would be to find. interview.
And I will say I've learned many relevant things, both from Jones and from Icke as well. So, as long
It's
as you take it with a
impossible.
heap of salt,
Here we go. Realities Ours Patreon interview. I would recommend, if you really want, you can check out my friends, the Realities Ours, which we've had on this show before, as well, and Thomas, Paranoid American, did I think one or two interviews with David Icke, and I'll do one soon. There's a little bit of backstory why it didn't happen yet. I felt pretty bad about what happened to his daughter. A lot's been going on with David Icke in the last few years, and last year particularly was hard, but I think we'll be able to do it this year or next. So I'll set it up. I'm sorry, I've been busy.
The next few videos, I'm not gonna say much about it. Everyone who's interested, please check the link in the description below for the show notes. This is just about various more or less popular individuals and researchers that maybe are not as ideologically driven as you would want to believe, or have strange connections to strange individuals, and it's really crazy in the end. And here this guy, Fresh and Fit?
Yeah, I met him in at Timcast at one point.
Okay, funny. So yeah, basically he was blundering something and kind of low-key released the information that Dawson basically was acting on behalf of Tate, which I mean, I guess at least by today, anyone looking into the topic, again, you can check out the YouTube channel called Gadget. And even here, especially if we get into the male-female question, I'm really wondering about all the details of it. But at least in terms
anybody
of
wants to be that manly doesn't feel very manly. I mean,
at least in terms of the court documents that Gadget goes through, and even just the chat logs from the internal Discord servers they have and so on, doesn't really appear as if they are very nice to women, for example. So I wouldn't want to associate necessarily, but apparently they pay. So, whatever, right? The other videos here.
Let me just really quickly, I know that we're nearly done and we have a couple more subjects. I'm happy to continue. I just want to respond to Frank for a second.
Sure.
Zelensky came off as a demanding homeless panhandler. I have friends on both sides of this argument. I know plenty of Ukrainians, and I think they're the only ones that I would take the defense of on the other side of it. But a lot of the Democrats too, like my mom's a DNC supporting person, like, what are you going to do? They're looking at it the exact opposite way. They're like, okay, and I don't know how much you really watched the interview, but you should really pay attention to the whole interview, because things weren't going terribly until near the end. At the beginning, also, you could say that he wasn't that bad. Like, I think he looked stressed out. I was thinking when I first saw the ending of it, Zelensky was like on coke. I was like, oh, this guy's crazy. He's a crackhead. He's obviously disrespectful to the president, blah, blah, blah. I felt the same way. But if you watch it from the beginning, it's like everyone's insulting Zelensky, not the president. The president's actually they're doing cordial things. The president's really trying to work with Zelensky publicly, because this is a recording that's live that Russia's watching and all of BRICS. And the idea that he's going to say something that offends them and then go do a meeting with them is a bad idea. So he's going to try to be careful what he says. He's going to try to make it clear that whatever happens with Zelensky in America, that it's going to be a honorable agreement, that Russia will see that they're honoring, America will honor their agreement, and Russia, well, yeah, it could be that the Zelensky fiasco is staged. I think it's kind of a fair way to look at it. So at first, Zelensky is told, why aren't you wearing a suit? Why don't you ever wear a suit? He has such poor English, which is really interesting, because I thought of him as having better English than that. And
yeah,
he's yelling.
He be up to speed after doing 3 seasons with all these Hollywood producers for, what was the series called? I Want to Be the President? Or
Servant of the People, which is also the name of his political party, the Servant of the People political party. That's the party that runs Ukraine, right? But, he talked about the election not happening.
Serving up the people, yes.
All right. Yeah. So at a certain point, really the reason that the Zelensky meeting disintegrated the way it did was that they brought up the ceasefire. Zelensky said that he couldn't trust a ceasefire. He's like, I don't think that a ceasefire will ever really work, because Russia has never honored those agreements. I don't completely disagree with that. It's a nuanced point. It's not exactly that. I mean, I think Russia's relatively far more honorable than people give them credit. But it's a nuanced point that ever since 2014, 2012, 2014, the Odessa invasion, that it's been, Russia, the state, the Russian Federation, feels the responsibility of Russian speaking persons, right? So in other countries that are former Soviet territories, there are tons of Russian people put there by the Soviet Union. A lot of the time they're brought there by Stalin and everything, but they're not treated very well always. And Russia thought they should look out for these people. So it becomes kind of convoluted when you say Russia's in other people's states. Because yeah, technically there are Russians living in these states, but if you were to say that Ukraine, should be Ukrainian, well, 60-70% of Ukraine are Russian speaking people in the east that are far away from Kiev, and they're not really Russian Putin supporters a lot of the time. A lot of these people are Russians who just don't want to be part of the Putin Federation. So there's a total thing there as well. But Russia is a group that we need to make an agreement with right now, is what Trump is looking at it. And so for him to say, we need to make a ceasefire, and then Zelensky to immediately afterwards say, a ceasefire won't do anything. It's never worked before. That's why I won't even go in a room with that guy, because, one of us will come out dead. One of us will come out alive and the other will come out dead. And it's like, that was a bad thing for him to say live in the Oval Office. And Vance was also kind of annoyed that he has been, and I think that's why when people are saying it's staged, because Vance really did set it up by saying things the way he did, like, do you ever say thank you for anything we do for you? That began a really serious argument right there. You could tell. And Zelensky called him a bitch. You saw him call him a chilik. He called him a chilik right there. He whispered it under his breath. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, stage. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Continues.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say, I don't think it's as cut and dry as Zelensky was the bad guy there. I mean, he's not necessarily the good guy, but I don't think it was as clear as like, the entire time it was just a complete waste of time. He was complete crap.